War in my mind. The mind can be a powerful thing. It has been said that the human mind is more powerful than a computer. It makes last-second decisions, tells a muscle to move, or even makes words to form sentences. All these things are things that people neglect to think about. They think it's okay to push something under the rug when they don't want to talk about it. Or if there's no meaning or use to them, why bother to talk about it at all? But I do. I think of those things. Whether I want to think about those things or not is irrelevant because I am an overthinker. While I cannot show you what others think, I can show you mine. So welcome to this war in my mind. You see, because I'm an overthinker, I tend to make scenarios in my head that are so far-fetched, so distasteful, so untrue, that I know it can never be real. Yet even though I know this, it still happens. I can sit and dwell on something, fumbling ideas around in my head, making myself worry, making myself sad, mad, or fueled with rage. To be honest, I hate myself for who I am. I hate what I have become. I cannot find the good in myself no matter what. I have this ever-growing resentment that just keeps growing inside of me. To think about all the mistakes I have done or the words I have said, I always wonder, what could I have done differently? They say the happiest people are the most depressed, and while I never accepted that I was, I think I can safely say that I am, in some way or another, depressed. I don't mean woe is me, I need attention, help me, but more along the lines of I need to do all the right things in life to make myself feel better. I need to be everyone else's armor to know that they are happy, or at least a little bit better because of me. I've often thought about the fact that I thoroughly enjoy making people laugh. No matter how sad I am inside, I'll always make others laugh. They do not need to know what goes on inside of me. They do not need to know that the person who just made them laugh is actually broken on the inside, and his armor has been shattered into a bunch of tiny fragments that has no way of being mended back together. My mind is like a battlefield, a war zone where my good thoughts are in conflict with my bad thoughts. You could say it's the good side of me versus the bad side of me. The main weapon of choice is chemical warfare. Gas grenades fly across the battlefield with their aim to kill, no, to suffocate. Carcasses lay on the ground, saturated by chemicals. Words cry out to their comrades, wanting some type of atonement, even though they need not to do that. I guess because of this title, and what my original thought process was when I began typing this up, I should dive further into the inner workings of my mind. As I mentioned above, I hate who I am as a person. I do not think I am a good person. I do not think I am a good boyfriend. I do not think I am worth anything. I hate the way I think. I wish that I could simply think like others and be the one that blended in. It takes losing some friends to really make you realize how trash of a person you might be. For someone to dislike you for no reason is just a fluke. There's always a reason. Then, this is where my thoughts come into play. I begin to think if it was something I had done, or if it was something I had said. And then when I realized there was nothing of the sort, I dig deeper into more far-fetched ideas. Oh, maybe it was because I did something in that game and they didn't like it. And then I realized that can't be it. So I find another far-fetched idea, and the cycle just happens over and over. But this cycle can happen with anything. The girlfriend wants to go out to the bar with some friends. Let me just start thinking about the worst of the worst. Maybe she's going to get drunk and make some wrong decisions. Maybe she's going to get raped. Maybe she will go home with the guy and won't see her till a few days later. Maybe something so bad happens I cannot get a hold of her and she gets hurt. And I wasn't there to help her when she needed me. I started destroying myself over something that has never even happened, or even close to being true. I would rather deal with all kinds of physical pain for every single person who calls me a friend than be stuck alone in my mind, letting the thoughts fumble around, starting as a pebble, then turning into a rock, and then a stone, a boulder, a landslide, and eventually turn into an avalanche. I hate being in my mind. I hate it. I hate it. I fucking hate it. It was 2012 or so, and I had gotten into trouble at school because my anger had flared up. I got sent home because of it, and my stepdad was the one who picked me up. As we were driving home, we were having a conversation about my anger. We were brainstorming different ways to help me cope up with all the pent-up rage I had inside. We had gone home and walked to the door, and I remember standing there looking at him, listening. There was one thing I remember him saying that stuck with me even till now. He looked at me and he just said, "You have the biggest heart I have ever seen. You are a good person, and you show so much care for everyone else. You just have a small bad side that makes you a bit short of perfect. But we all have that small bad side because no one can be perfect." I broke down into tears when he said that because it made so much sense. But that was 6 years ago. Now, I personally feel like that small bad side has become a bit more comfortable in my head. Made a home and brought in the television. Every day is a struggle internally. Every damn day I think about all the things that make me worried. This is not my plea for help. This is not me asking for assistance. This is merely me opening the doors to the war in my mind so you can gather a bit more of who I am, who I think I am, and who I really am. If you have read this, or if I read this to you, I don't expect any pity. Nor should you shed tears for me. It's just me. I don't deserve your tears. If you've made it this far while you're reading it, congratulations. I guess I haven't bored you yet. Now, if I was reading this to you, and you are still interested in what I have to say, and you have not thought of, man, when is this going to end, then kudos to you. I applaud you. I say this because I still do not think anything I say, do, write, type is never interesting, and people do not want to hear the thoughts in my head. I will never think highly of myself. This is no competitive writing piece. I do not write this saying my life is worse than yours, nor have I experienced things far worse than you have. People always have to one-up each other, whether they mean to do so or not. I'm guilty as well. I guess you could say it's only human nature. The main reason why I started writing was because of depression. I didn't want to get into drugs or alcohol because they weren't the ones that I wanted. They were the options that everyone else took. I wanted to be different. I wanted to be the one with a story to tell, to scream to the world. I wanted to yell it to the skies and hope people heard my story and could relate. So they knew they weren't alone. Speaking of not being alone, I hope that you can relate to any part of this. If by the time this comes to an end, and you feel a little bit better about yourself, or your thoughts, or anything, please, please let me know. Within recent times, I've often been finding myself becoming very angry over stupid stuff. Now I have anger issues. I've had them since I was young. But the thing that gets to me for some reason is that I've been having a hard time dealing with it. Instead of controlling it, it just consumes me and it gets unleashed. Each time that I get angry, each time that I want to grab someone's throat and slam them into the wall, I become more hateful of myself. I do not want to be that person. Now this next part I write with a heavy heart. I thought about writing it and I pushed it to the side. I didn't want to include it because to me, it makes me feel like I'm purely seeking attention. But I think I should include it now because I feel as if I'm going to write this, then I shouldn't leave anything out. Let me put a reminder that I am by any means not reaching out for help, asking for assistance, or anything else. This was written just so I can tell my story and hope it will reach out to others and help them in some way or another. But as I said, I write this with a heavy heart. Depression, anger, frustration, something I struggle with each and every day. But the biggest one that has risen out of the ashes to make itself known is suicide. Some might say that is a greedy thing to do. And while I do see what they mean in some certain light, I have to say that it is never out of greed. One does not take their own life because they want to be greedy or because they want to make others around them hurt. No. It simply has to do with how they feel about themselves and how they're trying to handle everything. It's hard trying to deal with certain situations.